Right. So today we're going to take a deep dive into some pretty interesting waters.
Yeah.
We're talking about infidelity.
Right.
And specifically, we're going to be looking at how men and women approach it differently.
Okay.
And we're doing this deep dive based on this text called Pasted Text. And I just want to say up front, this is a very complex topic.
Yes.
It's very sensitive. And we're not here to tell anybody how to live their life.
Of course.
Or give advice or anything like that.
Not at all.
But we do want to look at some of the patterns and the motivations that might explain why people do what they do.
Yeah. And, I think it's less about finding a definitive answer and more about challenging assumptions that we might have about infidelity. Yeah. So it's really a chance to kind of dig deeper and see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, because it is a puzzle. It's something that has perplexed people for a long time.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that this text gets into right away is why men and women cheat. And it talks about how men, it seems like they're looking for a variety of sexual partners, whereas women are looking for something more of an emotional connection.
Right. I mean, that's a common belief. And there might be some truth to it.
Okay.
But it's definitely not as simple as that. We humans are not just driven by our hormones or our biology. There are so many other factors that come into play.
Like what are some of those other factors?
Well, you got to consider things like psychology. Our personal histories, the societal pressures that we face, all of these things influence our decisions, and especially when it comes to relationships and infidelity.
Yeah, so you're saying it's not as simple as men want this and women want that.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's much more nuanced than that.
Give us a breakdown. What are some of the things that could be at play here?
Okay, well, let's start with unmet needs within a relationship.
Okay.
So if someone's feeling neglected or undervalued or just lonely, they might try to find that validation or fulfillment somewhere else.
Right, so they're looking for something that's missing.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to find a missing piece of the puzzle, whether it's excitement, whether it's a deeper connection, or even just feeling attractive and wanted.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense. But it also makes you wonder how much of this is, like you're saying, societal pressure or societal expectations.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. What's considered acceptable behavior for men that might be totally different for women. And this can really impact how we view infidelity, how we judge it, and even how it plays out in real life.
So give me an example.
Well, there's this classic double standard where men's infidelity is sometimes dismissed as we're just sowing their wild oats. Boys will be boys.
Right.
But when a woman is unfaithful, she often faces much harsher judgment.
Yeah, it's like a whole different set of rules. Like men get a free pass and women don't.
Exactly.
And do you think that that impacts how infidelity actually plays out?
I think it definitely could. If society tells men that they're supposed to be the pursuers, the ones who are focused on the physical aspect of intimacy, then maybe that's reflected in how they approach infidelity.
So they're more likely to just look for a physical encounter?
Yeah, they might prioritize those purely physical encounters.
Okay, but women, on the other hand, they're looking for something more emotional.
It's possible. Women are often raised to be more attuned to relationships, to emotional intimacy. So it kind of makes sense that if they're seeking something outside their primary relationship, it might be driven by those missing emotional elements.
So an emotional affair, basically.
Exactly.
But I also know that we're talking about huge generalizations here.
Of course. We can't put everyone in the same box.
Right. Every relationship is different. Every person is different.
Absolutely.
Does the text get into specifics about how infidelity might actually play out differently?
It doesn't really go into those specifics, but it is a really fascinating area of research.
Oh,
there are some interesting trends that have been observed.
Like what?
Well, for example, some studies suggest that women might be more likely to have an affair with someone they already have an emotional connection with, like a friend or a coworker.
Also somebody they already know.
Right. Whereas men might be more open to encounters with strangers.
Okay. That's really interesting. Now, what about that stereotype that women are better at hiding affairs?
Oh, yeah, that's a classic one. It's hard to say for sure if there's any truth to that, but some people believe that women might be more skilled at navigating the emotional complexities of a secret affair. They might be better at picking up on subtle cues.
Oh, okay. Maintaining a sense of normalcy in their relationships.
Yeah.
But I guess that's more speculation than...
Yeah, we don't have any hard data
Yeah.
to support that.
All right, well, we've covered a lot. We talked about the potential differences in motivation, the role of societal expectations, and we even touched on some possible patterns in how men and women approach infidelity. But if there's just one thing you want our listeners to take away from this episode, what would it be?
I would say the biggest takeaway is that infidelity is complicated. There's no easy answer.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all explanation. And I think by acknowledging that men and women might experience and express infidelity differently, we can start to have more honest conversations about relationships, about expectations, about the complexities of human connection.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about judging. It's about understanding.
Exactly.
So as you continue on your own deep dive
Yeah.
into this topic, I want to leave you with one thought. How do you think these potential differences impact communication within a relationship? It's definitely something to think about. All right, until next time, keep diving deep.